Dear students, in this tutorial we're going to see preserved transparency. This belongs as well to the tutorials line that we're having about layers. So if you check the first layer that we have here, the working layer, it's a fully white layer. It means that every single information or every single space in this layer is covered by white pixels. If you open a new layer, you get a layer in which you have already the overview of it on the layer window with gray and white little squares. So it means that everything in there is transparent. There is no color information like we find here on the working area. So at the moment we start painting. I'll just grab Wachshaber as tool, and at the moment I start painting something in here. I start bringing color information into this layer, and this we can see on the preview from the layers. So if I select preserve transparency, it's this little icon with the little squares and the lock on it, and I pick up another color, like for example something totally different from the color we had before, and I'll just go for a tool that gives me a little bit of texture, for example charcoal and pastel, and here I have the variant pastel hard, and I'll increase the size of my brush by pressing Option Command, and I start painting. We can see that I'm just painting on the area where I had some color in here already. So this kind of tool is really interesting. At the moment you start working with texture and bigger brushes, but you still would like to be working on a filigrane kind of illustration. We're going to connect a few different materials that we had on earlier classes together with this one in this tutorial. So just once for you to understand, I select it all with Command A. I backspaced on my keyboard, and at the moment I delete the information I had before. I just made everything become white. So for me to really delete this information or this illustration on the new layer, I have to turn off Save Transparency, and now I could select it all by pressing Command A and backspace, and I have this away. So we're going now to be working with the mirror painting tool, and I'm going to start with the tool we were using before. So if you have the last 10 tools, it's easier and fast for you to grab the last tool you were working with. And I'm just grabbing here Wachshaber as a variant, and I'm working then with the mirror tool, and I'm just going to be, oh, this is not really the color I wanted. I'll just grab some red, since I'm going to be working with red as well, a little bit orangey, and I'm just starting quite simple and like this. Tack. We're going to be painting a beetle together, and the good thing about this is that this tool works very nicely and has a very interesting kind of thin and thick line. Just going to make this a little bit easier here, and we can increase and decrease the size of the brush by making more or less pressure. So I'm just going to be doing a few more legs. Oh, I wanted this to be a little bit larger. Okay, we can fill the area with a filling tool afterwards, just to have the whole thing filled up. And now I would be able to start slowly working with, for example, this charcoal or pastel eckig hard, square hard, and I'm just going to select preserve transparency, and now I can start painting. And the good thing is that I really don't need to be worrying that much about the area that I'm painting. Decrease the size of the brush a little bit, because I have here Save Transparency. So I just really can be working quite free, and I have all the outlines saved by the Save Transparency mode, I'm just going to decrease the red here, make my brush a little bit smaller, start working in a few details. Maybe go back for some yellow. This is really a very nice combination of two very good materials that we can be working with. I really like as well to bring up like a kind of crazy color together as a background color and work then with texture. It works really nice together. And the good thing about working with this Symmetry tool is that you just really need to be working half of the whole thing. The other half is going to be done automatically, which is really great. So continuing here to make a little bit more details. The brush was a bit too large. I would like to decrease the size of it. Good, I'll get some white. I'll make some highlights. I have to calibrate my brush. I'm going to make a next tutorial about calibrating brushes so you understand what I'm talking about. Just always be aware to be using your pencil without doing too much effort or too much pressure on your screen. Okay, so sometimes you can just really grab the option tool while you have the brush on, and you can pick up colors that exist already on your illustration, and this avoids having too many colors going on in here. Like I'm already using very bright colors, but like this you avoid really making everything far too bright or far too many colors on the same picture. Sometimes it does not really work so well. So I'm increasing the size of my brush. Add some yellow. And maybe bring up some eyes. At the moment you think that the illustration is fine and you would like to start bringing up some information that gets out of this line that you have here already. You would just really need to turn off the save transparency mode, and you can keep on working with the symmetry tool. I'll just give this little bug some eye, maybe a little eye glue. Here you would have a nice little bug coming out. If you would like afterwards to make it a little bit less symmetrical, sometimes it's good not to have the full symmetry tool all the time on. We would just need to turn symmetry off and go back to the symmetry tool, turn symmetry off, and then you could maybe give some more information to your little bug. That breaks a little bit of the symmetry, and it always really does some good to make it. And don't forget that at the moment you open a new layer and save transparency is on, no matter which tool you have, it's not going to be painting. So if you have the experience of not being able to paint while you're kind of using save transparency in a short time or just shortly before, it's maybe because you open a new layer which has no pixel information in there for you to paint on top of it, and preserve transparency tool on, and it's just going to preserve the whole area which is transparent. So turn this off and you're going to be able to start painting again. Okay, have fun with these two more informations, and we'll talk to each other soon. Bye bye.